How's it going, Bridge Dwellers? You may have seen the Distributist made a video on the failure of Sargon. If you oppose the authoritarian left and you support Sargon, the Distributist thinks you've failed as well. After the Distributist made his first video, I tweeted him a video that I made about Ashley Mardell writing a book. I said that we are losing the culture war. I basically agreed with what he was saying. So in a way, I do believe our side is losing. We are not actively out in the streets protesting and changing minds. That is where I believe our side is lacking. And politically, I believe the regressives are changing laws in their favor when all we can really do is talk about their success. But if you're going to criticize our side for that, you have to remember our side is hated. Our side is not backed by the mainstream media. And every little thing we do can get twisted into somehow a malicious act. There's a channel called Stardusk that, to be honest, I've never really liked. I first saw his channel probably in 2014 when Teal Deer was starting to become really popular. Stardust had Teal Deer on his channel, and I really could not stand Stardust's voice. The way he spoke seemed like this fake, oh, this is how I think smart people sound, so I'm going to sound like that kind of voice. So that automatically irked me about him. But anyway, so Stardust had the Distributist on to talk about his video stating that Sargon had failed. And I'm thinking, cool, even though I don't really like Stardust's voice, maybe they'll give a solution to help our side be more active. And after about 30 minutes of watching, I realized they weren't actually doing that. What they were actually doing was talking shit about every big name in our community.
Ask you is what drove you to make this video in the first place? Because I am, as all my subs know, I don't like the anti-SJWs. I think they're fence-sitting irrelevance, generally speaking, and I have my own views. But why go to all that effort and elaborate work to point out all the details of essentially why the endeavor on the part of people like Sargon and his ilk will fail?
I mean, I'm kind of a little bit frustrated with them myself. I mean, the problem is it's just the people who kind of arisen to push back on this. There was a point in history where they were kind of called to be more than entertainers, and I think they've been really struggling with that transition.
Indeed. I think you hit the nail on the head. Entertainer. Yeah, that is what they are.
I think the critical thing was between, I think Gamergate was sort of the beginning of the call to be something more than entertainers. Before Gamergate, they were certainly just belly aching about people that they really had no impact on. And Gamergate was, okay, maybe we can make an impact. And I think that we're starting to see the end of that sort of window where they could be politically relevant in a larger context. And I think that overall the project to become something larger has possibly failed and may never have been even possible.
Interesting. Do you think that Sargon and his ilk ever had the intention of becoming something bigger? Because my impression, having observed them for years, is that it's something they kind of stumbled onto. I mean, even my channel, which is half my income, I think they thought, of course, the SJW stuff was stupid, and they thought, feminism was stupid, or modern feminism, I don't know how you want to put that. And then he realized, holy shit, I can get an audience here, and I can get lots of subs, and then I can, get lots of AdSense, and I can get a Patreon where I'm getting paid, at least for the initial video, $1,000 per video. So, why shouldn't I do this? What that has to do with politics, I can't fathom. I don't think any of these guys ever had the intention of being anything other than.
Well, I think it's.
I want to just finish a final
Sure,
thought.
sure.
Apologies. What I was really irked about recently was Sargon rather pretentiously sitting in his backyard smoking a fag, going on about how the YouTube Socratics, as if they were skeptics and inquiring into the nature of human society and reality and politics. I mean, that's not what they do.
I think it's more or less comes to who we're talking about, right? I think you have people like Bering who are just entertainers.
Yeah, Bering I think is an abomination that is good and worthwhile in sort of anti-feminism, anti-SJWs, and at least there's this perception. But the reality is, as you pointed out, some of the more modern or more recent acolytes, such as Bering, who he's been around for a year, maybe less, grown tremendously. They saw a market niche and they jumped in, and I can't blame them. If you see an economic opportunity, why not take advantage of it?
That's literally what he did. Yeah, I heard when he was talking to one of the other people. He's just like, yeah, I heard Sargon one day and thought, hey, I could do that.
And I
that's
guess
the story of Bearing.
For his honesty, he's not pretending to be. All he is trying to make money off of YouTube. But I guess you talk about people like Sargon, then people like the so-called armored skeptic, and there's an air of pretense.
Sargon certainly, I'd say,
yeah,
and also I think Computing Forever also falls into that category.
Yes, he
is unlike Sargon, who I think is a little bit more phlegmatic about his approach to these things. Sargon kind of, I don't think he really. Computing Forever always thinks that he's like a month away from destroying the SJWs at their most basic level, and
I don't think
in
so.
a year,
I think in his case it's not too dissimilar. He ran a tech channel reviewing tech products, like Mac, which is Apple. I hate Apple, but and once again, I can't fault him. He saw an opportunity. All of a sudden, he saw, wow, my videos on anti-SJWism get so many more views and this and that, and now, as he himself recently pointed out, it's the distribution or the ratio of videos on his channels. I mean, it used to be 80% tech, 20% social commentary, and now it's quote unquote 80% social commentary, 20%. So it's been essentially reversed.
So of course this disappointed me. Now I will give them this. They gave a sort of half solution, if you can even call it a half solution. The Distributist said it was too late for our side to even mobilize a political defense against the authoritarian left. Before I get into that, I want to talk about why I agree with the Distributist as to why we are losing. We are the underdog in this fight. We have the cards stacked against us because anything we do is met with, oh, you're a racist, or oh, you're a misogynist, or oh, you're a homophobe, or oh, you're an egg kinophobe. Like I said earlier, I tweeted the Distributist the video I made about Ashley Mardell's book, and I believe it's easier for these people to reach young minds. And young minds have easier access to the SJW belief and agenda. Minds in general have access to these people's ideas or ideology. In schools across the US and all over the world now, regressive policies are being enforced. And I don't even mean just in colleges, but also in grade schools. And think about that guy in Canada who tried to open men's shelters. He was painted in the interview as some kind of misogynist asshole for just trying to help abused men. Okay, so back to the Distributist saying it was too late to mobilize a defense. Before I saw his Stardust interview, I thought he was trying to help, to kind of stick a fire under our collective asses to get us motivated. Unfortunately, after watching the video, I believe he just thinks we're in it for the money, like PriorityPod. We've been pushing our defense as quickly as possible. We've been mobilizing ourselves as quickly as possible. As quickly as possible, excuse me. Look at Trump. Trump basically represents us. We're the deplorables. Being the underdogs, it's not going to fucking happen overnight. People have heard our message and are actively trying to get it out to others. In the Trigglypuff 2.0 video, the white college students are heard saying that there's no professors that will back them because they're a conservative group for Trump. And Triggly 2.0 calls them white supremacists, saying conservative is somehow an equivalent to white supremacist. So I want to end this video with a question for the Distributist and Stardusk. Since they believe we have become mere entertainers and only in it for the money, what do they suggest for us to do to become better activists? Alright guys, that's it for me. Thanks for watching, and fucking remember, leave some goddamn change in the tip jar because I'm a tip jar because I'm a motherfucking entertainer. Later.